Good evening. Good evening. Thanks for joining in. I'm sorry I'm running late. Work duties come first, and I hope y'all understand. So tonight's all about you guys. As I promised in my video clip, that we're going to be talking about y'all's haunts or paranormal experiences you had. Yes, I'm still driving, but I am on the way home. And as soon as I get home, we'll go to the studio where the lights will be better. I know y'all can barely see me. Let's see if we can help that out some. Yeah, there we go. We'll ride with a light on so y'all can see me. Anyway, you guys, I want to hear about your haunts, about your experiences, about your run-ins with spirits, ghosts, demons, paranormal events, anything that has happened to you. We want to discuss that on tonight's Paranormal Plus podcast. But before I go any further, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Tremble Rock Haunted House from Waycross. Matter of fact, the owner, John McDermott, with Tremble Rock Haunted House, wanted me to give a personal shout out to all the local haunted houses. We got E.L. Craven in Blackshear, Georgia, Screams in Hoboken, Georgia, Obadiah's Okefenokee. I'm not sure what their haunt's called, but it's Obadiah's Okefenokee. And then, of course, Tremble Rock with John McDermott, the owner. Also, south of Atlantis, Banners. So, with that, you guys, if you have a story to tell, I want to hear it. I hope that you can come on live with me. So if you want to come on live with me to discuss your haunts, send the invite and I'll bring you on. But anyhow, I got the great opportunity today to go to Talberton, or through Talberton. What is important about Talberton, and if some of y'all were tuning in last year about the Georgia werewolf, that is where Emily Isabella Burt is buried, the Georgia werewolf. And it was pretty neat. I was not able to get to her burial place, I will say that. I'm going to have to research how to get to the location, because Google Maps will not take you there. It takes you to somebody's house. And hopefully, if one of our listeners tonight has any experience with the burial of Emily Isabella Burt, y'all can share that with me, and I can go back 4 hours over there to check it out, because that's basically where I was at today and why it's so late for me getting back. So, who has had a paranormal experience of their own? And note that I am driving and holding it up toward the road here, so I cannot read right now what you are sending. I should be home within 5 minutes, and we can discuss. I can try to bring you on, or if you send a message on here, I should be able to read the message out as soon as I get to a location where I'm not driving. So, anyway, Jesus, it's hot here. South Georgia. It's cool in the mornings and hot in the afternoons. So I have to turn the heater on in the morning, air conditioner on in the afternoon. So it's one of those things. Alright, let's see. I'm trying to bring somebody on. I don't know if it worked. They sent an invite. The old moon is ducked down behind what's left of it. It's ducked down behind some clouds over here. And yes, I live out in the boondocks. There's things that creep, things that crawl. There ain't nothing out here ever made me cry. Y'all give me a few minutes and I'll I wanted to go ahead and go live because I was supposed to be on at 8 and I was still on the road at 8 o'clock, and time I pulled into my office, I had to deal with a phone call. I think I pulled into the office right at 8:30, and that's when I said that I would be, the second time I said, okay, we've had to postpone it to 8:30, and you know, wound up being 8:45, I think, I came on. But please just hold on, hold your thoughts. We're almost home. We're on this dirt road, headed toward the house now. I guess I can be talking about something that's happened to me, you know, back a long time ago, and the when, you know, physical, or it's just in your dreams. Let me explain mine a little bit. So the night in question was actually, I had got off that morning at 7, went home and laid down, and while I was laying down, I remember covering up. It was kind of cool that morning, and I covered up in a blanket, and it seems like I heard a knock on the door. Now at this point I knew I was dreaming, so I go to the door, and to me it was my ex-wife, but my ex-wife was a brunette, and the woman that I let in was blonde-headed. So I knew I was dreaming, but I felt it getting to bed with me, and I felt it because I invited it. I said, you can lay down with me, but I'm tired. I'm going back to sleep. So I lay down in the bed, and I felt it climb in the bed, get under the covers with me, and I had my back to it. It reached around, reached across me, and it grabbed my arm. And I remember that's when I actually started coming to, because I was like, that's a big damn hand for my wife. And I fought with it. It had me like they say, sleep paralysis. You're paralyzed. So it had me held down in the bed. And I was like, boy. And I remember all my strength. I pushed, and the hand came off on me, and the blanket flew, and I heard gunshots. Bow, bow, bow. So I get up out of the bed, I go to my door, and I see my neighbors outside. So I walk outside, and I said, Terry, did you hear gunshots? You know, never mind that I just struggled with something. I said, did you hear gunshots? He goes, no. I said, how long have you been outside? He goes, well, I've been outside for a while. I said, man, I just heard gunshots. Like in the house. And he goes, I wouldn't be surprised. He goes, people that lived there before you only lived there a couple weeks, and they moved out, and they said that they were experiencing some things, that they were hearing things. And he goes, it's not uncommon for somebody living in that house to hear things. And then he goes on to tell me that the old man that owned the place had committed suicide. He had killed himself in the garage. And there was possibly even a incident where a young boy had killed himself. So I go back inside the house, and I look around, look all into stuff. There was a whole bunch of stuff that were belonged to the teenage boy, and a whole bunch of stuff that belonged to the grown man that killed himself in the house. I'm finna go into the studio so you guys can see me better, and so let's carry this inside, and I'll finish the story in there. What's up, Scout? My dog comes running up to check on me. When I get home, what's up, guys? All right, I got to come back here to the studio until I finish this live. Jalen, don't make any noise. I'm in the studio.
Yep. Go back to the rich man.
All right. Let's turn these on and turn this off. All right, so y'all can see me pretty good now. Get around here. So we can get everything set up a little bit better. And like I said, I apologize for running late. And let's see who we got on. What's up, Mac? Gage Bennett. There's Steven. Many of y'all want to come on live with me because you have a haunt story. That's what this is about. So we're going to finish talking about mine. I didn't really think much of it. I knew what had happened, and I told Terry exactly what took place. Gage, if you can send me an invite, a live ad to add you, I will try to add you. Let's see which one. You don't have enough. You got to have 1,000 people to go live. 1,000 followers to go live. So, anyway, so I'm telling Terry what took place. The gunshot, something holding me down. Later, do you have 1,000 followers, Mac? You got 1,000 followers, I can bring you on. All right, let's see. Invite sent, Mac.
Go live. Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
I can't see your video.
I don't know how to turn that on.
All right, well, we got your voice. Have you ever had an experience with paranormal or a haunting?
Somewhat, like, whenever I was like 12, 13, I went to my papa's house with all my cousins, and we were like playing the Ouija board or something like that in like this old abandoned house. And, we thought somebody was moving like the thing, but somebody probably was moving it. I don't think somebody was, but I don't know. And my cousin started acting possessed and like started doing some weird stuff. She like started running around screaming and stuff.
All right. So you know the story behind the witch board or the Ouija board, right?
No, sir.
Uh,
Mm.
the witch board was developed in Ohio, and I'm not even going to lie to you there. I'll have to look that part up. I did think it's 1930s, 1940s, but I will look that part up. It was then purchased by Milton Bradley, who put it on the market as some type of entertainment fun thing. Anyway, when messing with the Ouija board, you you kind of open Pandora's box. Now, what we're looking at is not actually the power of the board, but the power of you giving entities um, energy. Um, to be able to explain that is um, when I do paranormal investigations, and if there's a serious entity we're dealing with, a very strong force, the next day I am drained. It drains a lot of energy from me. These things manifest because of energy forces. Um, Let me dive deeper into that. All right, so a living being like you and I, our bodies die, but our energy never does. Energy never dies. It goes somewhere. Um, and you can check this. This is common knowledge that uh, we have like a power plant of energy in us, and when we die, it has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't just die with the body. Now that's not saying spirit shows. That's the energy. So you have an energy force there, and these things um, they feed off energy. To if your energy levels are down, you eat something to energize you. Entities feed off of energy. So when you give power to it, like say you have a possible haunting in your house. You've heard some things, you've smelt certain things coming up, in the house, and there's a few other things going on, and you start talking to it. You name it. You say, "Oh, Little Mac." Uh, our ghost is called Little Mac, and Mac's phone died. Well, great. Yeah, okay. I'm still explaining it, Mac. Sorry your phone died. Um, anyway, so if you start giving power to this entity, you start, accepting it into your home. That is totally different than uh, accepting that it's there. When you start carrying on conversations with it like it's part of the family, you kind of tinkering with Pandora's box. And what happens is, I lived in a home where this possibly happened. It was a direct reflect of me going in there with a baseball bat and beating the baseboard and saying, well, if he's coming through that portal, he ain't happy. So things got worse after that. Anyway, by doing things, you can open portals. Uh, Sometimes it's because of mental health issues. We see it when we were when the team, uh, back when I had a team, back when the team was together and we were doing paranormal investigations. Oftentimes when we would interview these people, in the interview we would realize we were dealing with mental health. That doesn't mean that they didn't have a haunting going on. What that meant was that their mental health was manifesting whatever was there. So you can give things energy. You can give things your energy. It can feed off it. So when you take something like a Ouija board and you're trying to conjure up something or summon something, oh, it's going to be acceptable to it. I always told my team before we go in, and not all times were my team Christians. Sometimes we had Wiccans and everything else that was part of the team, and I would tell them, before we go in, we need to say a prayer. And the first time it happened, I always read Psalms 91. I call that my protection Psalms. But the first time I went in with a Wiccan, and they said, "Well, I don't believe in the Bible, blah blah blah." And I said, "I don't care if you're praying to Joe Pesci. They don't know the difference. They all they know is that you're putting some type of shield around you, and therefore they're going to kind of be reluctant to attach to you." There has been times I've been in an investigation. I felt like something attached to me and followed me home. The house I live in now is pretty. There's things that happen here. My mother lived here. We all grew up here. My dad basically passed away in the back bedroom, even though they pronounced him dead in Jacksonville. My brother passed away in the backyard. Chief Raymond passed away on his front porch, which is right outside my front door, to the left a few steps. And before that, this was Indian burial grounds. So, hence the name that it was originally given, not Yellow Bluff, but Indian Bluff. And they changed the name because they said that we were making up stories, but we were one of the first families that moved out here to Indian Bluff, and we know what was going on when they were excavating the roads, and they accidentally excavated a Indian burial ground out here. So there's a lot of stuff goes on out here. Tonight, though, I need someone to come on and tell their story. So thanks for joining, Adrian. And thanks for staying on Gage. So anybody that's got a story they would like to share. Hey, if you could send it to me in a message, Straw. I guess that's how you, and user 451897. Thanks for joining. You guys have any stories you'd like to tell, let me know. Basically, until we get somebody to come on, I guess I can continue telling stuff that's happened to me. One of the I guess face-to-face with a demon incidents took place with me was out beside Ware County High School in Ware County, Georgia. I did the Ouija board one time, and after there was knocking and the ceiling fan was going back. Going backwards or going back? Back and forth. Okay. Thanks, user. Anyway, so I get this call from this guy, and he owns a rental property out by Ware County High School, and I originally go out and I check the place out before I take the teams out, because we deal with You deal with so many cuckoo pots when you're dealing with paranormal. So, Lingland and Rosalind Edwards, thanks for joining. So, while we got to where we would go out and I would do an initial walkthrough and get a kind of a backstory. And people didn't like to be forthcoming with information. This particular rental property, they said people would stay in it 2 to 3 weeks. Hey, Lady 55, thanks for joining. Danielle, Titan. So we had this situation where we go in. I didn't get the full information on the rental property. And after we're in there, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. I mean, just crazy stuff. This is a rental property, and you got a living room, and you got a hallway that goes to the master. So I head down the hallway. All the lights are off because for some reason back then I thought you had to go in at night. It does cut down on traffic noise, people blowing horns and stuff. So when we're running EVPs, it makes it more convenient for us, except for out there, it's near the railroad. So at night, you still got a lot of noise. Anyway, I head down this hallway, and all the lights off. You still got some shadows from the moon and stuff in there. And something comes out of the bedroom coming toward me, and it's about 3 feet tall. Now I'm right at 6 foot tall, and at the time, like I said, this was probably 15 years ago. Was me and David. David was behind me, and we walking down the hallway. When it comes toward me, I stopped, and I felt David's hands reach around on my shoulders and kind of shove me forward. So I went like this right here, and I stopped dead in my tracks. Because right at first, I was like, oh, what the? I'm trying not to curse, so we talked about cleaning it up. Anyway, so I asked David, did he see it? And he said yes. And as it's coming toward me, coming down the hall toward us, I mean, everything's happening, bang, bang, bang. I said, the hell with this. It don't have power over me. And I took a step toward it, and when I did, it ducked into a bedroom. So I went into the bedroom behind it, thinking that my partner was behind me. But when everything was said and done, and I'm in this bedroom with whatever, which the only thing we found in there was a rat. My partner was gone. So I'm taking pictures in there, and I tell him to hold the flashlight or turn on the flashlight, and there's no response. And I called his name, there's no response, and I go to looking all over the place for him, and he had went outside. Now, he said he told me that he was going outside, he needed a break. I didn't hear none of that, but sometimes in the excitement, things like that happen. So we wind up in situations. Anyhow, it doesn't have to be at night. Ghosts are not drawn to a certain hour. They can haunt you at any time of the day. Matter of fact, most ghosts are seen during the day, not at night. For some whatever reason, people watching these shows on TV, they decided that nighttime was the time to do paranormal investigations. And the only thing I could think of was there's less chance of having automobiles blowing horns and motors and stuff caught up in your recordings. But yeah. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Hey, Kristen, thanks for joining. Once again, tonight is about you guys telling y'all stories. We got Gage and Mac. They were playing with an Ouija board, and both of them had bad experiences. I did a long time ago. I wanted to win the lottery, and therefore we were using a Ouija board to try to get the ghost in the Ouija board to give us the numbers. A long time ago. I would say 34 years ago. Anyway, so I ended up burning the Ouija board and burying the ashes, because ultimately it took a happy family and destroyed a happy family. But I don't think the Ouija board had that power or anything in the Ouija board now. That relationship was doomed the day I kissed her for the first time. So, but I did wind up having two beautiful children with her. Hey, Tara, how you doing? Anybody wants to come on and tell their haunting story, please come on. We've got 1,400 likes. I am NASCAR. Thanks for joining. Linda Winkler. Thanks for joining. Any of you guys that want to come on the show and tell your story about a haunting that you've experienced? Right now we're holding at 1,400 likes. I would hope to have 10,000 likes by the end of the night. So thanks, Pam Kretcher, for joining. Brittany Anders, thanks for joining us. You guys want to come on the show, talk about a haunting? That's what I've been doing for the past 25 years, paranormal investigations. Somebody, person that has a show called me an expert, and I said there are no experts when it comes to paranormal. Sage, thanks for joining. Melissa, thanks for joining. Anyway, 25 years I've been doing paranormal investigations, not just in Southeast Georgia, but around the world. I've been to Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, or Greensboro, whatever it's called. Arizona, did a paranormal investigation there. No, I wish, Gage. Paranormal investigations there. I've done paranormal investigations in Florida, South Georgia, Southeast Georgia, Southwest Georgia, North Georgia. I've done paranormal investigations in Germany and Poland. I want to do a paranormal investigation. All right, so you guys, all right, you want to do a paranormal investigation. So tell me what excites you about doing a paranormal investigation. Why would you want to go in and do a paranormal investigation? You guys can come on live. All you got to do is let me know, and I'll send you a. No, I love paranormal investigations. I'm obsessed with the stuff. I have some ghost equipment. Awesome. Man, KM, so sad I missed Mac live. I've been doing paranormal investigations for over 25 years, and I've got some equipment, but most of ours is old school equipment. I don't believe in a bunch of the talking boxes and gadgets that they use on TV. I feel like that's Hollywood dogma and all that's scripted. I have never in my life been in a paranormal investigation and something falls or clicks and I go, that's just not me. I say, all right, we got something. But anyway, are you, evidently you're local 888? Do you know Mac? How do I get in touch with a spirit? How do you get in touch with a spirit? If it's not your own house and you're doing an investigation, I would get me a digital voice recorder, and I would set it down. I would write me some questions I wanted to ask. When I asked that question, I would look at the time on that digital recorder and write the time down. And after everything's finished, in a quiet room, in a quiet setting, sometimes you can use Audacity because it'll pick up the little blips in the EVP. So you listen for things that are going on in that voice recorder. Don't dismiss anything. If you hear a click or a scuff and you think that that's nothing, that's just something going on in the house, the way sound works is once you speak, those sound waves never end. They just get bigger as they go out. They bounce off everything. They're everlasting. We have lyrics or voice box, which we can create sound with. A ghost or a spirit does not have, to our knowledge, does not have a lyrics. Hey, Shadow King, how you doing? Does not have a lyrics, and therefore they cannot create create sounds. All right, let's go. There you go. Bring in Shadow. You there, Shadow King? Let's go live. How's it going?
Pretty good, man. How about you?
I'm all right. So we're talking about sound waves and how a ghost makes sound right now. As soon as I get finished with that, if you have a paranormal experience you'd like to discuss on the podcast, I'm going to give you the floor and I'm going to listen.
You
So
go
if
ahead. I'm good.
you just give me a few seconds to finish explaining to these young guys how EVPs work. All right. So
Yeah, you go
ghosts
ahead.
cannot create a sound. They have to ride the sound wave. So they have to emit their sound through our sound waves. So they're riding our sound waves, and you'll hear this recording, and you may be the only one in the room talking, and then all of a sudden you'll say, one of the EVPs I've got in the past was, we got to keep trying. We got to keep trying to communicate with them. We got to tell them about the children. Now, all that was in an investigation in one little EVP clip. I had to slow it down because originally it sounded like we got to, and that's what we heard. So once we slowed it down with using Audacity, we were able to make out that it said that we got to keep trying. We got to keep trying to communicate with them. We got to tell them about the children. And this was at the Dubose house in Cherokee Heights in Waycross, Georgia. I'm not going to give any addresses. I just, if you know how to do your due diligence, you can probably look it up through records and find out where this place is. Anyway, that is how a ghost communicates and makes sound. I want to welcome on the show tonight, Shadow King. Yeah, Waycross, Georgia. Southeast Georgia. Shadow King, you got a paranormal story?
I've got several, but you know them. I've already talked to them about them with you.
We're going to do Cryptides another night.
Yeah.
Now,
last night. Go ahead.
Now you did have a haunting. I did an investigation at your place years and years ago,
Yep.
You did have a haunting, and I think was the guy's name Kevin?
Sean.
Sean.
Yep.
We figured out that the guy's name was Sean, and that he was there because of the attachment he had to, I guess, his daughter.
My wife, which was his sister.
Your wife was his sister. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So it's been a long time, man. Too many
Yeah.
bumps in the road and bumps on the head. All right.
Too many
Tell me
miles.
what took place. Tell me what took place last night.
I was sitting here last night on my side porch and felt something tug at the back of my shirt. And the only thing I could figure, I ain't going into detail, but I figured it was probably my wife.
Yeah. Yeah. But probably
Because
100% right there. Thanks for
when
joining,
that
Lena.
happened,
Tracy.
I've got all her wind chimes are still up,
Yes, sir.
but they wasn't but one wind chime moving out of every one of them. So I think it was her.
I'm going to say probably with 99% accuracy, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was explaining to them about this place here, and I didn't go into detail, but my 17-year-old has had something put his hands on his shoulder and stuff, and he thought it was the cat or me, and he turned around and neither one of us would be in there. And it's more than likely his grandmother. So
Yeah.
yeah, I believe that they do come and visit us and check in on us, and I without a doubt know that she's probably sitting there letting you know that she's there looking over you, and probably letting you know that
Yeah.
everything's all right. That you need to start living your life. So
Yeah,
now,
I
yeah,
know.
I'm not the mediums. Uh,
Yeah.
they're on strike right now, and they could probably go into detail on some things, but they're on strike right now. They'll be back. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, um, now you told me about the Cogdale light, and I went I went out to Cogdale. Several people had told me about the Cogdale lights,
Yeah.
and you know those are kind of scientifically explained, but science has a way of explaining everything about nothing. Uh,
Exactly.
I I went out to Cogdale. We rode all over the place. I never got to experience any of it. Hey Vanessa, thanks for joining. Um, I went out with three different parties out to Cogdale to see the Cogdale light,
Okay.
and you know maybe I'm thinking maybe since you're more aware of it, maybe me and you could hook up one night and ride out there and just make an evening of it. Hey
Yeah, we
Darla,
can
thanks
do
for
that.
joining.
Well,
So, but
I
also
got
along with that, there was this woman that worked at the local theater, and she we kind of had a date night where we went looking for these lights that are supposed to be in the sky over Moody Air Force Base. Thanks for joining, Savannah. So
I've
we
heard
rode out
about
there,
that.
and the way we went was Cogdale, down
Yep.
Cogdale Road toward there. And I was hoping to see these lights. Now, I'm going to tell you, coming back from, it was me, David, and Jalen, and we were coming back from uh, the site where Mary Turner murder took place, over on the other side of Quitman, I believe is where this is at. Quitman or Valdosta. And there was something happened. It was real quick, and we had to play it off that it was. Thanks for joining, Jen. We had to play it off that it was lightning or something like that going on. If we have the least amount of doubt in our mind, then we note it as being scientifically explainable. Hey, Misty Dawn, thanks for joining. So, with that, I've been over to Valdosta several times. There is a lot of unexplained things in Valdosta. Hey, Bree, Gonzalo, there's this road that you can put your car in neutral and it will go uphill. And we back my truck uphill. We put it in park and it would just shoot uphill. Either way we turned, it would go uphill. And they say that it's an optical illusion. But if I'm standing at the bottom of a hill and I'm looking up at the top of the hill, then I don't get the optical illusion. There's no optical illusion. There's a hill there. But they said that it's actually you're at a higher pitch when you're down below the top of the hill. Explain that to me. I mean, I'm not falling for that. There's some type of gravity force pull going on there that's unexplainable. I did it, me and you talked about cryptides before, the thing that happened to your granddaddy, and I was in Tolberton today, which is where Emily Isabella Burt is buried. And for those of y'all who do not know who Emily Isabella Burt was, she is known as the Georgia Werewolf. It's an actual story. You can look it up. You can Google it, and it tells the whole breakdown of Emily Isabella Burt. Or you can go to my videos. You may have to go to YouTube. I don't think it's on my TikTok. But on YouTube, we have a story where we're telling the story about Emily Isabella Burt and the Georgia Werewolf. And all this stuff really happened. She's buried in Tolberton. I was wanting to get in there and video her tombstone and everything. But for some reason, Google Maps does not take you to her resting place. And I've reached out. If anybody lives in Tolberton and knows how to get to Emily Isabella Burt's tombstone, I would love to go back there and take some videos on the cemetery and surrounding areas. So we got over there, and every time it turned us down this driveway that went to this house, and I just couldn't get to the cemetery, so I gave up and come home. And that's the reason I was so
interesting place to do a night investigation.
Yeah, but I'm thinking you have to walk back there, and I'm thinking it's like a quarter of a mile off the road, because that's what kept happening. So, all right, I want to welcome everybody on tonight. If you have a paranormal event that's taken place and would like to talk about it, you're welcome to join us live on Paranormal Plus Podcast. But for those who don't know me, I am Casper Hunter. That's not my real name, but that's what a bunch of people know me as. So, what's up, Joe? Thanks for joining.
All right, well, I'm going to step out, and if anybody else wants to join, y'all come on in.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that with us, Shadow King, and I'm going to be reaching out to you, and we have a lot to talk about, and maybe I can help you out some.
All right, then, man. I'll be looking forward to your call.
All righty.
All right, later.
Later. Anybody else got a paranormal story or something that may have happened with you guys that you want to talk about that could be paranormal, could just be mental health? As I said earlier, sometimes mental health plays a big role in these things. Thanks for joining, Jerry. Thanks for joining user 873365799024. That's a long one. I want to thank everybody for joining in. So we'll go back talking. Y'all heard me talking about the road over in Valdosta, Georgia, where you can put your vehicle in park and take your foot off the gas. Not in park. Put it in neutral, take your foot off the gas, and it will go uphill. There's actually 2 locations I know of in Georgia that do that, and I was researching. There's spots all over the United States that this goes on. So thanks for joining Miss Wood Noel. One of the sponsors, and we was talking about sponsors earlier. One of the sponsors, the Trumbull Rock, the Haunted House. That's located in Waycross, Georgia. If you do not know, thanks for joining, Cam. If you do not know where Waycross, Georgia is, because it is a little tiny speck on the map, you're looking at southeast Georgia, just above Jacksonville, Florida. There's this swamp, and that's where Waycross is, the headwaters of the Okefenokee Swamp. So Trumbull Rock, the Haunted House. A few years ago, I went into Trumbull Rock. John McDermott, the owner, was telling me these stories, and I said, "Wow, John, I would really like to go in and investigate this place. It sounds like you've got a legit haunting going on." I didn't know the entire backstory to the place. The place was actually moved there from a different location. That was in another area where I knew some bodies had been dumped a long time ago. I'm not saying the bodies were dumped in the residence, but what we did wind up finding when we went in, there was at least 5 ghosts haunting either the haunted house or the area around the haunted house. I think one of them's name was James. One of them's name was Kevin. Imagine that. There was a little girl and an older lady. And I can't remember who the 5th one was. It may have been somebody that was kin to John. But yeah, we got pictures. You can go to Trumbull Rock, the Haunted House on Facebook, and they have those pictures posted on their Facebook. That's Trumbull Rock, the Haunted House Facebook page. And you can see the pictures of the ghost on their Facebook page. And there's actually a backstory to when we went in. I've actually certified that. I've only give 2 certifications of true hauntings out with both signatures, mine and David. And that was, one was to the Waycross Area Theater, and the other one was to Trumbull Rock. So that's not something that we just throw around because we go out and do investigations. When we have a strong feeling that your place is truly haunted, then we write the certificate of haunting for you. John tells the story And, you know, he tells it probably better than I do. And him and his staff tell it better than I do. So if you're in this area, please go out and check out our local haunted houses. You've got Trimble Rot, of course, Trimble Rot, the haunted house in Waycross. You have Screams in Hoboken, Georgia. You have E.L. Craven's in Blackshear, Georgia. And Obadiah's Okefenokee down Swamp Road in Ware County, Georgia. There's a lot of stuff that goes on down in the swamps. And I remember growing up listening to stories that were passed down by my grandparents, my uncles and aunts, and they would tell these stories about things that happened back before you had street lights down there. So anyway, anybody have a story they want to come on live tonight and tell your haunting story? You're welcome to come on. Timmy Harris, thanks for joining us. We're looking for people to come on and tell their story. We've had one come on tell his. So if you guys have a story that you would like to tell about paranormal or a haunting, please feel free to come on. We're at 2,300 likes. It's pretty good, but I want to hit 10,000, so y'all start hitting the hearts. Start hitting the hearts for me. Thanks for joining us, Terry. We're talking about hauntings and paranormal investigations or paranormal experiences. If you've had one of these, please feel free to share. Anybody. While we're waiting, I'm going to show you all my cool studio. Yeah, I got some cool stuff up in here. Anyhow, that's the studio. There's more stuff hanging. It's like a little haunted movie theater theme thing going on. Thanks for joining us, Sean. How are you doing tonight? All right, y'all want to come on? I'll send you an invite. If you've got a story to tell, let's tell it. Duena, Jalita. Thanks for joining in tonight. Heather Buttercup, Ty. Anybody got a paranormal story they want to share with Paranormal Plus? You're welcome to come on the show. It's a rare opportunity because we normally don't invite live guests come on the show. Christine, thanks for joining. I wish I had me a drink. Something. Tammy Lynn, thanks for joining us tonight. We're talking about hauntings that other people have experienced besides me. Anybody? How long have we been on? Danny, thanks for joining us. Paisley, thanks for joining us. That's the Bates Hotel vacancy behind me. You can leave comments down there, and I will try to answer your questions about paranormal events. Amy Lynn, thanks for joining. If anybody's had any type of paranormal experience, I am here for you tonight. Try to explain some things that's going on or not going on or how it's happening. TikTok Live Creator Program. All right, guys, nobody's going to come on. I've had a couple to come on tonight, but, you know, I got on late. Like I said, I had went to West Georgia to check out the burial site of Emily Isabella Burke, the Georgia werewolf. And it became a very long day. I couldn't find a way to the gravesite by vehicle. So it is now 10 o'clock, and I'm thinking that since nobody is actually coming on, I'm going to go ahead and close out, give you guys a break. Watch for my post on Paranormal Plus, like my page, send me a friend request. Thanks for joining, Becky. But if nobody's going to get on and tell their story, then I'm going to go ahead and close out. I'm very tired, been on the road since 5 a.m. this morning, and it's 10 p.m. now. So thanks for joining, Jack Robinson. You guys have a blessed night, and thanks for tuning in. Y'all made Paranormal Plus a success tonight by tuning in and watching. I was running an hour late with the podcast, but you know, I had a legit excuse. Job comes first. Brenda, thanks for joining us. How you doing tonight? Do you have a paranormal story that you would like to tell, share? Anybody got a paranormal story? Before I get off here, Miss Coffee, Brock Joyner, thanks for joining. I don't know how to say it. Jerry Elder. Any of you guys got a paranormal story you'd like to share tonight? Please share. I am 10, 9, 8, 7. Good night. Good night, guys. We'll talk to you again next Thursday. Hopefully before 9 o'clock this time. CGI Fridays. Thanks for joining. But hopefully before next, Lawrence, thanks for joining. Before 8 o'clock. I hope to be on by 8 o'clock next Thursday. Circumstances come up.